Welcome back. You're watching State of the Nation. Information still coming through all in one place simultaneously. You could check them out on our social media platforms, channelstv.com, youtube.com/channelsweb. You can tweet at Gimba003. Let's get your thoughts on the subject. The president has formally launched the Anchor Borrowers Program, ABP, for rice farmers in Kebbi State. The program is designed to assist small-scale farmers to increase the production and supply of feedstocks to agro-processors. The program is an initiative of the Central Bank of Nigeria, the CBN, aimed at creating an ecosystem to link outgrowers, that's the smallholder farmers, to local processors, increase banks' financing to the agricultural sector, enhance capacity utilization of agricultural firms involved in production of identified commodities. Well, the policy document of the program also indicates that the Anchor Borrowers Program will build capacity of banks in agricultural lending to farmers and entrepreneurs in the value chain and reduce commodity importation, lower poverty among smaller holder farmers and create jobs, while assisting rural smallholder farmers to grow from subsistence commercial production levels. Well, joining me in the studio is an agriculturist, Professor Bola Okuneye. I want to thank you so much indeed for coming on State of the Nation.
Thank you very much.
Give me a clear picture of this. We understand that it is aimed at creating an ecosystem to link of course, the outgrower smallholder farmers to the local processors. How is this expected to work out?
Well, in the first place, it's meant to encourage local production. And because many of these small-scale farmers, they don't have storage facilities, and they rarely go into processing. With linking them now with the local processors, it enhances the value chain of the various commodities. And if that one is done, then it takes off the burden from the small-scale farmers in terms of now storing the various commodities that they have produced, or now looking for how to process them. So the burden gets out of them, and the value chain now moves to the issue of processing. And with that, they can now concentrate on increased production of their various commodities.
It also says that they will be the biggest gainers, the farmers will be the biggest gainers in this. How do you suppose that a subsistence farmer would grow to a commercial farmer with this kind of project initiated by Mr. President? What do you expect to see? What are the landmarks? What are the key points that you expect to see within now and the next 6 months, for example?
Well, in the first place, it's going to be highly beneficial to the agri-sector. You know that the small-scale farmers represent about 65–70% of our crop producers, including animal rearers. It helps them in the sense that there will be a ready-made market, in quotes, for them as they now move their various commodities down to the processors, rather than they now still looking for where to sell, how to keep them, and where to buy the necessary material that they need for the following production.
So it takes the burden off them.
It takes the burden off them. And it encourages them that if they can now increase their level of production, then there is a ready-made market for them. And that one will now encourage them to now borrow money to increase their level of production. It's not just money that's a constraint to the farmers. Of course, it's a major one. But that when they produce, where do they market? Where do they take the commodities to? So with this approach, it's just like the staple crop processing zone arrangement of 2012–2013, that they can now move to the processors and therefore increase their level of production. And if they now have some money, they can now increase their level of production by buying more rejuvenating inputs for their various farms.
Has this been practiced elsewhere apart from Nigeria?
Oh, what's really been done is linkages. They call it linkages. The various processors, they link up with local farmers, and they purchase the various commodities from them that will serve as inputs for their own firm, whereas that's the output from the small-scale farmers. And with that, the bridge is there in form of the local farmers continually producing, and then there is a continuous supply of inputs to the various processors in form of potatoes, tomatoes, those people that are processing them. They have ready-made inputs And those are the outputs from the small-scale farmer.
One of the biggest inputs that will come to play here is the issue of ICT. How do you see this taking a role?
The issue of ICT, particularly from the point of view of the processors, I think the organizers should really take the burden off these small-scale farmers. The small-scale farmers, they don't know much about it. But rather, if the processors form themselves into, say a group, they can then have an ICT management team that can make a prediction in terms of what will be the expected yield, in terms of what will be the expected loss, because there's no way that there won't be some production losses, and then say, okay, how much of the processed commodities will now come out. The ICT becomes important in terms of planning and in terms of costing and estimating the revenue that can be derived from such.
Now that the government seems to be focusing more on agriculture now more than ever before as a way of diversifying the economy from the mainstay, which has always been oil and gas, is agriculture really the solution?
Undoubtedly, agriculture is really the solution. In the first place, we have about 93 million hectares of land, of which only 35% are currently being cultivated. In the second place, oil is a commodity that can either dry up or you finish it. But agriculture is a natural process. It's a natural commodity which continually grows on its own. In the third place, most Nigerians that are really working, they engage themselves in agriculture and agri-related activities.
What do you suppose the government will do to encourage moving from subsistence for rice farming, particularly, to one of commercial scale agriculture?
The first thing is you need to have a group or a cooperative system to be used for all these various farmers. Most of them produce maybe 1 acre, half of an hectare. But by the time you have a cooperative system, you can then harvest, you can then get their various harvests together and now link up with the processors, as Kebbi State is about doing. And with that, you can have for the various states the competitive advantage in the various crops that they have. For instance, Ogun State, further, as well as cassava, in Kebbi, rice, as well as maize, in Kano, rice, maize, and sorghum. So if you have all these units in place, and it enhances the issue of giving them some ideas in terms of technologies to use, in terms of processing also, because we have some processing things in place. And with that, then we can say that, oh, in the nearest future, we will get out of this food insufficiency and also enhance the various incomes of the farmers. So the private sector also needs to come in the sense that the private sector are the main flyers for the various processing activities that really need to take place.
So what would be your final word concerning the Anchor's Borrowers Program?
All right, it's a very good program. We should learn about the various errors of the past because this is not the first time that farmers are being given money. We should ensure that we give subsidy on output. That is what you produce, we can easily buy and buy at the ongoing price, market price. We should ensure that the issue of extension is key here, so that they can easily monitor the various activities of these farmers in terms of doing that which is needful, so that the production will not fall below the expected level that they have in mind.
Professor Bola Okuneye, I want to thank you so much indeed for talking to us on State of the Nation.
Thank you very much. God bless you.
In the 1960s, before it turned to oil, Nigeria was one of the most promising agricultural producers in the world. Between 1962 and 1968, export crops were the country's main foreign exchange earner. The country was #1 globally in palm oil exports, well ahead of Malaysia and Indonesia, and exported 47% of all groundnuts, putting it ahead of the US and Argentina. The new government says it's aware of this and wants to diversify the economy and create millions of jobs. It has started with the ANCO Borrowers Program for obvious reasons. Money is key in this new direction, needed to stimulate the agriculture sector by providing the loans at interest rates less than 1%. For any meaningful growth, borrowing must be put at a single digit and, in fact, within the region of 1%. Nigeria currently borrows between 25 to 30% from commercial banks. Until that changes, many say that as a country we will be going in circles. This is State of the Nation. I am Gimba Omar, and bye for now.